Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell 'em. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with a Hangout highlight session with my guys, the Ogunyemi brothers. Family for me, man, just great men from a great family, doing great things. And, you know, always all about highlighting and uplifting. But, man, when you have people that come from the same family that's doing amazing things, man, I think it's so awesome. And got to make sure we show love and support for the things that you guys are doing. So first, I'll just let you guys, we're just going to go around and just, you know, oldest to youngest, and let you guys kind of say who you are. And we've done a session before, we've done some content before, but I wanted to, you know, just catch up with everybody. Let's just have some good time together like we always do. And so
Yes, sir.
We'll start off with oldest to youngest. Just tell who you are and where you're at.
All right. I promised myself I wouldn't be long-winded today, so they don't have to fuss at me during our call. But I'm Dr. Clement Ogunyemi. I'm a resident of Springdale, Arkansas. I've been here about 11 years. I'm a graduate of Grambling State University, where I obtained my Bachelor's of Business Management with a minor in economics. From there, I've gotten my MBA in finance, as well as my doctorate in business administration in finance. Currently, I'm working for 4Q Pro Financial Management and Consulting, which is a company I started about 4 years ago and been doing full time here for the last 3 years. It's been pretty good to me. It's been very good to me, actually. It's opened a lot of doors that probably would not have otherwise been opened. And, you know, each time I've had a job, I've taken some of those pieces of learning experience and pieces of information, and I've been applying them to my own company and just, you know, learning and growing, you know, each year. And I'm very grateful for it. I'm grateful for everything that's been going on up to this point.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, next.
Good job, man. I'm proud of you. I'm Joshua Ogunyemi, obviously. Calling in from New Orleans, Louisiana. I, too, am a graduate of Grambling State University. Doesn't matter what I got my degree in. I got my MBA and my doctoral degree in the School of Hard Knocks. Real life experience. But no, man. Currently, I do work. Well, I do work with recruiting and placement for people down here in New Orleans, as well as on the side my own personal, growing my own personal brand and business, XLU, branding and consulting. So I just work with businesses, entrepreneurs, on building their brands, primarily through graphic design and service and product development, things like that. So it's really been growing as actually towards the end of this year. So some really exciting things happening. I'm a husband of, as they say, one wife, and I'll be remiss not to mention her. And then my two beautiful kids, Kennedy and my namesake Joshua. Very proud of my family and that I come from, and the one that I've had a hand in building. So just another exciting time to come hang out with my boys. On to you, Olaolu.
Let's go.
All right, sorry about that. Just trying to figure out how to unmute myself here. All right, so first of all, I'm glad to be here. My name is Olaolu Ogunyemi. I am a graduate, also, I guess a third of this bunch, third graduate. Of course, I'm the one that kept it going, and then somebody messed it up here later. But third graduate of Grambling State University with a degree in computer information systems. I'm a captain in the United States Marine Corps. currently stationed in California. I'm a husband of one wife, like Joshua said, because anything else is illegal in the United States, with 3 beautiful children. And again, I'm just excited to be here. Very excited to see what's next. I'll be rotating here next summer from where I am now. So I won't spill any details because I haven't even told my wife because I just found out this morning. I probably will spill details a little bit later, but I'm excited to come on here and talk with you guys and discuss it. So I look forward to having a great discussion.
Appreciate it, Olaolu. All right, Dan, you're up, man.
You know, they always say the best for last, and that's definitely what my parents planned on doing. God had already written it. So praise God for his mighty works in Ogunyemi family.
Hey, before you go on, I'm sorry, man. Before you go on, the rest of them, they looking at you like.
If you notice, I wasn't even looking at the screen because they say to turn a blind eye to your haters. Also, let me go ahead and tell you a story about Joseph. No, I'll spare you. David too. But anyway, I am Daniel Adella Ogunyemi. I am the one that did not go to Grambling State University. I moved to Bolivar, Missouri, which I thought was pronounced Bolivar. Moved to Bolivar, Missouri on a basketball scholarship to Southwest Baptist University. I obtained my bachelor's in psychology and then went to Evangel University in Springfield, Missouri, where I currently reside, to obtain my master's in clinical mental health counseling. I also am married to Kai. We have a 2-year-old, Kian, and I work in the diversity and inclusion office for a mental health organization, which is kind of fun. I've kind of gone around. I go into child welfare. I spent some time working with individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And it's kind of cool now to be back into kind of my first love of mental health, and that being married with diversity and inclusion and trying to create equity and access and inclusion for historically excluded groups. So that's what I get to do.
Man, that's awesome, Dan. So thank you guys for doing the intros. And, as you can see, it's always a good time. It's always fun times. But really, like at the core seriousness, man, every one of you guys are doing amazing things, man. And so I think it's just awesome. I commend you guys and just want to give you an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit. I know you kind of touched on, some of the things that you're doing, but I know like some of you guys have projects, that you've put out there. And so I want to give you an opportunity, to talk about those so people can go get those books and show you some love and give you some support, man. So we'll do the same thing. Doc, you can go first.
All right. I'll try to remain brief again, Joshua. But I'm always a little uneasy to talk about myself.
Yeah.
But I will today. I did release a new product this year that I've been super excited about. Because my life's mission, or at least the last, I don't know, since I was 19, so the last however many years we won't say, I've been very, very passionate about getting financial literacy into every household in America. That's the dream, the goal, the passion, my life's work, whatever you want to call it, has been to get financial literacy into every home, every child's home, so that nobody has an excuse when they're an adult, not to make financial or savvy financial decisions, whether it's, buying a home, buying a car, whether they should finance it, how to grow their money, just little things. And so with the product that I released this year, some financial literacy flashcards, which we went around and around about, how we want to, put it out there, what terms should be on there, what graphics should be on there. And, it was, I'd be remiss to say that it was a collaborative effort, because we had a lot of back and forth, a lot of, hey, that doesn't make sense. And like, well, I thought it made sense. And, we come back the next day like, hey, you were right. But being able to put that product out and have the most rudimentary terms, things like what is wealth? What is an asset? What's a liability? How do you calculate your own net worth? because a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people are afraid to even consider what their net worth is, because what a lot of us will find is that, we have a negative net worth. We might, see everybody driving these flashy cars, and then you say, well, that looks like wealth. And, once they take a deeper dive into their own situations, they realize, hey, I'm not wealthy at all. I'm the opposite. I'm upside down on a lot of things because I haven't taken care of, the small things that I need to take care of in order to be financially savvy, in order to make, good financial decisions. So I think the flashcards are an excellent segue into that. We say age is 5+, but I even practice with my 3-year-old, just so he gets used to hearing these words. Even if right now, obviously, he doesn't understand everything, he gets used to hearing these words, and it's repetitive, and he's understanding, before long, because I did the same thing with my 9-year-old. Anytime I go to the bank and I have to withdraw cash, he's the one that counts it for me. Because I'm like, hey, make sure they didn't cheat me, and I'm like, and also it's kind of teaching him, hey, this is how I count money. This is what I should be doing when I go to the bank. This is what my dad is doing when he's coming to the bank. This is some of the terminology he uses. And now with the flashcards, he's starting to see those terms in action. He's starting to see, okay, well, when my dad said he has cash, or when he has money in the bank, or when he's talking about wealth versus being rich, what do all these things mean? And now he has it in terms that he can understand, as well as see in action. So I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited about getting it into as many homes as possible. I say every home in America, and I don't, I used to get nervous about saying things like that, because I'm like, that's unrealistic. But what I've learned in my, as I'm getting older and a little bit wiser, I'm learning that, you have to, no matter what you believe, whether it's being a Christian, Buddhist, whatever you're putting into the atmosphere, if you want it to come to fruition, you have to speak it. You have to make it plain. You have to make that vision plain for you. And, and by saying it, it gives me something to work towards. And also, puts it into the higher power's hands to see that I'm serious about it, and that I'm going to work towards that goal in order to make sure that, people aren't like, while, we were a good family, we never talked about finances, and I want to break that barrier for any family that's nervous to even mention it, nervous to talk about it, breaking that barrier, saying, hey, dad, hey, mom, hey, aunt, hey, grandma, I have, these financial literacy cards. Let's sit down and look at them. And most of the time, us as adults would say, well, what are they reading? And we turn it over, and now we're learning as well. And it becomes an open conversation in those homes as well.
Good stuff, Doc. That's what it's all about, man. Josh, hit us with that book info, man.
Yeah, well, just I wanted to piggyback on that real quick. I did mention I help businesses and brands. So his brand that he didn't mention, the Finance Doctor, is absolutely something that I'm proud of. And even the projects that we worked on together, just I don't take it lightly that it's he's my brother, that he allowed me to collaborate and create graphics and just work on the project with him. So on these projects and develop an actual brand and things like that. So there's not anything I take lightly, and something I'm incredibly proud of. So I want to shout him out for that. So Dr. Clement Ogunyemi is the Finance Doctor. Don't forget it.
Hey, I want before you do your deal too, I want to say something to Doc too about Josh and I had a convo a few days ago, talking about the cards, and man, just not only is he saying this like we're getting content or whatever, but like it's a support in the background too. He's like, man, them things are amazing. Like I don't think he charged enough. Like it's good stuff, like all of that, man. And it's awesome when you can have family that rock with you and support you and be down with you 100, whatever. Let's get it, and that's another reason why we're doing this, because man, like again, I can't say it enough, man. You guys are doing great things and love every ounce of it, right? And so, Josh, you go ahead, man.
Yeah. So, and I know this isn't the section for it, but we talked about as you and I talked the other day about collaboration over competition. So, it was a matter of taking a skill set or a knowledge base that he had and combining it with a talent that I have, and so it's a beautiful marriage, and I'm like I said, I'm incredibly proud of it. He also has a book that he wrote called 9/10. It's a church folks' guide to financial discipline and living beyond tithes and offering. And what that is, it helps people church folks, not just church people, but to develop a budget and come up with a plan for spending their money, because giving is great. And I'll talk about my book in a second, but giving is great, but you need to have a plan for spending your money, for giving and everything. So yeah, wanted to mention those two things: 9/10 Church Folks Guide to Financial Discipline and Living Beyond Tithes and Offering, as well as the Finance Doctor and his financial literacy flashcards. Like I said the other day, Chip, these things are off the chain.
Yeah, man.
They got all information, to get you started, and even some, like you said, rudimentary terms, even some more advanced things that I learned from looking at them. So that was pretty incredible.
So,
hey man, get that man a raise.
I know, right?
Hey, listen, and we all got to eat, man.
Just to kind of, because Joshua likes to be beyond modest, although I keep telling him to stop doing that. He also designed and did the format for my book as well. So if you need any type of that, any type of graphics, any type of creative ideas, he's your guy. And I don't know why, I don't know why, and Olaolu probably will harp on this too. He doesn't, just really blow this out of the water, because the boy is good.
Man,
the boy is good at what he does, and he knows how to bring an idea to life.
Yeah,
so,
he's great at what he does, and there's a guy that you guys that are checking out, you may have seen, checked out his podcast, and there's a cover on his podcast, with a book on it, a red book. Oh wait, that's mine. Oh wait, he did that. Oh yeah, and so just proof. You see it. I mean, it's great stuff, and he's doing great things, man.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. And so you talked about support, and I'm gonna keep this short just to lead into kind of some of the projects I've got. But you talked about having a support system. That's why these guys are so instrumental, and man, they're awesome, because one day I hit them up and was just like, hey, what's something that just trying to figure things out for myself, and they constantly push me, as you can see. But I hit them up just like, hey, what's something that I do well, that comes easy to me, that other people might have trouble with. And it's funny that he just mentioned it, because I wrote down to make sure I mentioned vision and bringing ideas to life. And so I finally started to put a lot more of those things into practice for myself. As I said, I've been helping other businesses, other brands to build themselves, but finally started to put some of those things in practice for myself. I guess in order of chronological order, I started Kennedy's Courage, which is a nonprofit organization. It's in the name of our daughter, Kennedy, who was born along with her identical twin sister, Morgan, who unfortunately passed within a day of their birth. They were born at 23 weeks, so they're considered super premature at 1 pound 3 ounces. So that's it. That time right there was an incredible time for us. It was awful and terrible and terrific, all that stuff at the same time, just because I think we talked about the other day, Chip, you never really are prepared for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it really threw us in the fire, and we had to learn how to be husband and wife, because this happened 2 days after our wedding. We had to learn how to be parents on the fly, in the hospital. And we spent 6 months in the hospital with our daughter as she went through surgeries on her brain, and just about everywhere else. So, and it was a really tremendous experience. So we started that organization in her name to build awareness, not just around her story of being super premature, but she's also been diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And she's a fighter, she's a warrior, and wanted to share that with the world, as well as build awareness around cerebral palsy. So that's our nonprofit organization, Kennedy's Courage. And the last thing is the latest project that I put out is an ebook entitled Tough Times Don't Last, Tough People Do. And it's 9 ways.
I got you.
It's 9 ways, or basically 9 keys to help people get through challenging situations, which I was wanting to put it off and putting the project out but it just became more and more pressing on me. And as we talked the other day, it's not about me. My experiences in life,
Come on.
it's not about me. And I'm really, even if it's one or two people, I'm holding somebody back from experiencing that and getting that message. So I put that book out, Tough Times Don't Last, Tough People Do. And it's really just a collection of things that I've learned for dealing with tough situations. It talks about, being consistent and persevering. And it's not just the encouraging stuff. It's got, affirmations and quotes in there, but it's really got tangible things like actual action steps that if you take one of those things out of the book, it'll change your life. So that's Tough Times Don't Last, Tough People Do. You can order it today for the very special price of $20.20. And I thought it was necessary to brand it after this year because it's been pretty tough for a lot of people. Yeah. And like I said, looking out and seeing how people are struggling and how people are taking these kinds of times, and including myself, it just became very apparent that this was something that I and people needed. So you can find that at Excel, EXCELU.groovepages.com / I don't know, slash this way, TTDL, that's Tough Times Don't Last, ebook / index. Again, that's excelU.groovepages.com / TTDL ebook / index.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Josh, for sharing that, man. I think just want to kind of comment on some of the things that you were saying. I think that's why it's so important for us to, you said something, it's not about me. And that I say the same thing. I realized a long time ago, it ain't about me, right? I think we can get to a place in our life where we understand and realize it's important for us to share those things that we grow through, because not only have we become better, but there's a lot of people out there that will go through the same thing or worse, or whatever. And so they need to know that, hey, man, like if I can do it, trust me, you can too. And I think that it's awesome, man, that you stepped out there and you got the book. And I truly believe it's going to bless lots of people, man. So, Cap, you up.
Hey, Chip, if you would allow just one piggyback off something Joshua said, just real quick. Come on. And I know one of the things that, and he just jogged a memory of mine, and I wouldn't feel right without saying, almost 98% of the things that we do are definitely beyond us. And I say that, for example, writing books, putting out flashcards, negotiating with a factory in China, factories in China, and dealing with publishers and publishing deals gone bad. I used to get down about stuff like that and be like, man, this is difficult. People are crazy. How do they do this? But now, as people are seeing these products out, it's showing them that, hey, it's doable. Not only are the big people with, 1 million, 2 million followers and all over TV, they're not the only ones that can do this. Little people from Ruston, Louisiana, Grambling, Louisiana can do it. Then there's no excuse. It's doable. And, since we've been doing these projects, people have been hitting us up like, how do you do it? I want to write a book too, can you help me? And I'm like, of course, that's the big goal, is to show people, especially small town people, because we came from the country. Let's just be real. No matter where we live now, we came from the country, and we want to show small town people as well as people that have the resources that, hey, it's doable. It doesn't matter who you are. You can do whatever you want to put your mind to, and it's not as hard as people think.
I'm glad you said that, Doc. The possibilities are possible, and I'm glad that you hit on, where you guys were from. And I didn't do that, but I'm really glad you did, because now, people can really see, wow, you're like, yeah, like I've been trying to tell you, I ain't playing, like they doing some real stuff, but it's awesome, man. Thanks for mentioning that. All right, Cap, you up.
Well, first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't help out. As a computer guy, I need to help out you, Joshua, and everybody listening with this / and / thing, right? So let me help you out, right? So you read from left to right. So if it's leaning away from the text like this, that's called / If it's leaning back into your text like this, that's called / backslash. Okay, thank you, everybody. Now, that was my lesson of the day. And I know that people are going to sit there and their minds are exploding that I just explained that to you. I don't know why they don't have some better explanations than that, but that's what we have. All right, so for this season of my life,
Ding.
I hope that at some point you can have the meme fly across my face that says, "The more you know." I think that'll be. Dan, you may not know this, but that was before your time. All right, so in this season of my life, Chip, I'll tell you, it's funny because in my profession, you wouldn't imagine it, but I think that I am probably the cheerleader of the bunch, right? So my job and my role in this family right now that I assess is the one that's just being supportive. I think it's a Shark Tank as well. So when they show us these products, when I happen to see it before it gets released, I feel like my job is to tell the unadulterated truth. I don't say, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I feel like I don't have the responsibility to lie to them. I have a responsibility to tell them that looks like garbage and you need to change it. I think that's an important role to play. Now, one thing I do love about it, though, what that creates, and I'm not saying I created, obviously, because they're the ones that create it, but I think what that kind of environment creates, number one, it fosters that collaborative effort that everybody's talked about. And number two, it allows you to have quality products. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about their products. When I read it, when I look at their stuff, I got Clement's flashcards and I gave them to my daughter who's 2 years old, and I let her play around with it. And she's just like, she's doing the things that 2-year-olds do. And it was just cool to see, like, okay, this is not printed on construction paper. This isn't like something he found on the side of the road. This is a real quality product. And I look at it, I told my wife, man, you can slap this in Target or something and leave it on the shelf, and if nobody even noticed the difference, they wouldn't say, "Oh, that's a small town guy from Ruston, Louisiana." They'll be like, "Oh, this is a quality product." And then I read Joshua's book. I'm one that I've read several kinds. I read all kinds of books, and a lot of people they categorize. Excuse me, I can't talk today. Books in self-help and all this kind of stuff. So when I read his book, though, I was like, man, this speaks volumes. And I told him that. I said, I would love to tell you how garbage it is and how you should say, replace this word with that. And I would love to be the person to do that. But when I read it and I say, man, this is an amazing book, because it wasn't, as he mentioned, it wasn't just a book about, let me talk you up and make you feel real flowery. And then you close the book and you feel like you can charge the world, but you have nothing. Right? It actually had steps in there practical steps that you can take that I've already started taking. I won't leak anything, but I did take one of those steps, and I didn't find the money like he said he did. So, I'm not going to tell you what that is. Now, I will tell you though, I have a couple of projects right now. I have a couple of children's books that I've actually written, and of course, the person who's responsible for design will be Joshua. Again, something that people may not have seen coming, as I've announced myself as United States Marine, but I typically don't like to allow myself to fall into a stigma or into a box. So with that being said, yes, I have a couple of projects. One is going to be coming forth in the next few months. And I'm looking at Joshua. I'm going to stare at him and put him on the spot here because he's going to do an excellent design. And I look forward to seeing that come to fruition, because putting the words on paper is one thing, but seeing the ideas, as I did a terrible job of explaining it to him what I actually wanted, but seeing the ideas like come from my mind onto a paper better than what I even imagined is amazing. So I do look forward to that. And again, the idea is that for this product to be launched, to start the conversation, like Clement talked about, that's what I care about. I care about mothers and fathers and their children sitting down and having conversations that are meaningful, life lessons that if we can do it the right way, then we're sparking the conversation between that mother, father, and that child. And I think that's what we need to reinstitute here in our country and here and across the world. If we want to see improvement, we need to bring back parents that are engaged and having good conversations with their children. So, Chip, that's what I have for you for today.
Awesome, man. Good stuff. Dan, how about yourself?
Dude, I literally I'm kind of holding back tears, man, because like as I don't do a lot of reflecting. Like, my education and all that taught me to reflect, more so self-reflection. but really just reflect on life and the times and all of that. And I don't do a good job of that just because, you know, I'm always go, go, go. I've always been that way as long as I can remember. But man, just hearing and remembering what all like these guys have done like for the past 25 years of I've been in existence was like, wow, like these are like when I got those flashcards, like I see my like all the things that they're doing, I'm like, dang, these dudes are my brothers. Like
Yeah.
I'm into them. They're not these big Instagram influencers or whatever yet. But they're my brothers, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, sometimes that's I don't know, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So just being able to think about that and reflect on like all the things that they've told me in life. So like, here's a story for you. This is kind of random, but like my, like I just think back on the times like, you know, I'm a chubby fifth grader, fourth, fifth, sixth grader. And, you know, my oldest brother taking me to the gym, basketball, by the way. And for those of you that don't know Clement, you don't want to play pickup basketball with Clement because inevitably within about 35 minutes or less, he's going to kick the ball. He's going to hold it because the call wasn't right. He's going to fuss. The first game is never going to get over. I mean, these are just things that happen. But I just remember I'm significantly younger than everybody else there. And, you know, I'm there on the court playing basketball because of him. And then Josh Josh first told me about what sex was, you know, and that conversation was very interesting. I remember it. But that's just the type of person he is. You know, he was always the one to like teach stuff, right? Which, you know, his teaching methods were interesting. And then Olaolu comes along, and he was in age, he's the closest one to me until Zay came around more and stayed with us. But he was the one closest in age. So we experienced a lot together, even though he was still somewhat older. And my psychology brain goes to like, man, I wonder if, you know, he and my wife are literally the same age. So I wonder if that was a coincidence. Anyway, but just to look at like all those things that happened to now is just really, really interesting to me. I don't really like talking about myself at all. I joke that I do, but I really don't. It's uncomfortable for me. But two things that I really am interested in. I live in what's dubbed as oftentimes is one of the whitest cities in America. And the way that I got into diversity and inclusion was because I just started getting actively involved, and people would see me, and it was almost in some ways an assumption and in some ways a forced direction of we need to talk about diversity and inclusion. And I'm one of those people, I'm very optimistic. I'm like, all right, cool. But is it going to help people? Cool, let's do it. And I want to make sure that that's not a barrier for people any longer. If somebody wants to go into counseling, if they want to go into accounting, if they want to go into whatever it is, that they're going to be looked at beyond the token. And I'm one of those people, even in the summer of this year, I dubbed myself an ally for allies. And it's uncomfortable, you know what I mean? It's uncomfortable to always have to talk about diversity and inclusion. It's uncomfortable to be the token. But if me being the token means being a better, my kid who's going to grow up in this country, I assume, if it means a better future for my kid, then I'll be that token. If it means a better present and future for my peers that are, especially in places like Springfield and beyond, then I want to be that token. And I'm going to do it with stride, and I'm going to trust that my faith in God is going to carry me further. And then the other passion point of mine, like I mentioned, is mental health. We learned this year about a lot of disparities health-wise, specifically with people of color. And right alongside that is mental health. There is this inequity, there's this disparity, there's this lostness of mental health, and specifically the Black community and with Black men. You know, we're men. We don't talk about those things. We don't talk about depression. We don't talk about crime. We don't talk about suicide. We don't talk about anxiety. You know what I'm saying? We don't talk about the toxic masculinity and the things that we are supposed to do and how we're supposed to look as men. We don't talk about and as Black people about we talk about that's white people stuff, and things of that nature. And you're black. Your ancestors didn't come over here for you to be depressed. You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of conversations we have. And one of the biggest passion points of mine and what I hope to accomplish is delineating those stigmas, right? So I do believe there is a such thing as manhood, but I also believe that the ways in which we've been taught manhood can be a little bit misleading. And it can cause people to be non-human, and it can cause mental illness to rise, especially after a time like 2020 that's taught us that we're all human and we don't know what to expect and we don't know what we don't know. So those are, the projects that I work on are more than likely going to surround those things in hopes of building a better life and future for my family.
Man, love it, Dan. I think, just reflecting on hearing all you guys talk, I think it's amazing that, a couple of y'all, except for maybe Cap, said, I don't like talking about myself, but first, and then he did as well. I'm just messing with it. But then he went in and, all of you guys said something about one of the other brothers first before you said something about yourself. Right. And so to me, man, I think that's awesome too, and showing the respect, the great respect you have for each other, the great love you have for each other, the great, man, I don't know, just cheerleading efforts that you have for one another, man. I think it's awesome, and it's great to have that. Like it's one thing to be doing those things, which is really cool. You know what I'm saying? To be groundbreakers in what you're doing. But then when you got the true, genuine, authentic, I'm going to tell you the truth because I love you, love, behind you, man, it's nothing better than that. It's nothing better than having that. And that goes into what I want to hit on now. Just want to kind of reflect on, what this time has been for you guys and where we are now with the families and for people going into of the new year. Normally, when you do content, you don't timestamp it with, this time we got this. But I think it's important for us to really just, and Josh and I hit on this a little bit, where we are making it through COVID, trudging through COVID, the things that we reflected on and we were able to do as we go, what we learned and as we go into the new year. What are some reflections you may have that will possibly help people based off of what you've experienced? And so we'll just go around again and Clement, if you want to start.
Sure.
You're muted.
Uh-oh. Sorry, someone's trying to call me while I'm doing this call. But I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is the importance of having a supportive family. Because I shared with, well, they know, and Dan also knows because we've had conversations. But I started my own mental health journey this year, as far as finally putting that stigma to the side that, hey, if you struggle with any type of depression, mental health, you're crazy. And people are going to look at you differently. And I was like, it took this many years, 33 years for me to realize it's okay. We all struggle with some type of depression, some type of, and I hate to call it mental disorder or disability because that puts a negative connotation with it, but we all struggle with something that kind of pulls us down at times. And what I talked to my counselor about is, these times are trying. It's more important now to seek out the help that you need because everybody's at home, everybody's trying to adapt to the new normal. The kids are at home, your spouse might be at home, and I've talked to people whose spouses were traveling all the time. They would literally pass each other in the airport a lot of times, and now they're at home all the time together. So one of the things that, I found extremely useful is being able to reach out to family, and feel even closer to them than I ever felt before because, hey, I need you. I got to lean on you now because times are different. Times are challenging. Things are way different than what we're used to. So not only being able to talk to my family and have that strong support system, but also being able to seek the mental health, the mental help that I need to improve my mental health, and it's funny that it did take, 2020 for me to finally say, all right, that's it. No more excuses, no more BS, none of that. We're going to get the help that we need. So my main point of advice is to lean on those that love you, that support you. I've been fortunate, like Dan. I'm trying not to shed a tear or two, but I've been very fortunate and very blessed to have by far. And I tell people all the time, I say I have the best support system ever, because they're not going to sugarcoat things. They're not going to say, "Hey, that's great," and it's not. And we have an understanding that it might sting. We might have to revisit the conversations later, but we have that type of relationship where, if Olaolu tells me, "Hey, bro, that I don't get it, and I ain't seeing it, and I'm not trying to hear it," because he's very stubborn. In case you guys didn't know that, he's super stubborn. He's
Get
probably
out
the
of
most
here.
stubborn person outside of our father that I've ever met. Him, Dan, and Ethan, and my dad. But even having those conversations, because at times I'm the oldest, kind of stands up, but then I come back to him the next day like, "Hey, bro, you're right." And believe it or not, I listen when they talk. They're younger than I am, but I listen, and they know it. I'll text one of them one day like, "Hey, bro, I'm not wrapping my brain around XYZ. I need your help. Like, I need you to walk me through this." When it came to mental health, I would hit Dan up. I was like, "This is your profession, bro. Like, I don't know what the process looks like. I've seen it on TV. I know how to talk to a counselor from TV, but TV is not reality, and I was like, it's going to be very uncomfortable. It's going to be an emotional time. And so I was able to lean on my brothers, lean on my sisters, my parents, and really just lean into the dynamic that, our family has built, that, no question is off limits, no issue is off limits. And I've done a better job in 2020 of just being open. Because I was like, it doesn't make me feel like less of a man, as Dan alluded to earlier. It doesn't make me feel like less of a Black person to have doubts and have questions. It doesn't make me feel like less of anything to be able to talk to my younger brothers, or to be able to, say, "Hey, I'm struggling with mental health. Hey, I'm struggling with understanding XYZ, and how would you guys handle it?" So I think the biggest things are having that big, strong support system, whether it's family or a group of strong friends, and taking care of your mental health, just like we try to take care of our bodily health.
Love it, man. Love it.
Hey, Chip.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going last this time. I think this year, has put a lot of things into perspective. I just think it's been a humbling year. It's been a reality check. It's been a gut check. And for me, it's enabled me to get closer to my faith. Like, God, it's been just because you don't know. Like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like Clement mentioned earlier, like it really doesn't matter what religion or spirituality or faith you subscribe to, as long as you subscribe to some type of faith. Obviously, for me, and I think the rest of us still, we're Christians, and we ascribe to the Christian faith. And that works. It works for me. It's worked for me for all of my life, and I anticipate it working for me for the remainder of my life.
I'm gonna go church on you. Amen, lights.
Y'all ain't trying to talk to me.
Come on, somebody.
But dude, it's like, those types of things just really, like, this year it's shed a light on that, and it shed a light on so many things that don't matter, and the things that I believe really do matter. So, like, to circle back around what Clement was just talking about in the support, I think one of my favorite things is like when I get a notification on my phone, or I wake up the next morning, and it's like 1 or 2 a.m. Central Time, and I see that my brother Olaolu is on my LinkedIn page, liking things from the last 3 months, and I'm like, first of all, I know that he's 2 hours behind me, but this is still pretty late to be on LinkedIn. But it does my heart it makes my heart so warm to know that, like, he'll check and see what's going on, and I know that's what he does for all of us. And just knowing that, like, faith and family have always been the biggest things to me, like, always. And so just to have a year that, fortunately and unfortunately, have reminded me that those are the most important things has just been really cool.
Man, love it, man. Thanks for jumping in there, Dan, and sharing that. And now I agree with that. Faith and thanks for taking us to church. But then, secondly, the faith and family piece. That's what it's all about, man. At the end of the day, Yeah, we have all of these other things going on and all of that stuff. But really, if we can hone in and continue to develop our faith and our family, man, regardless of what happened, that's going to be there. The period, and that's important. So thanks for sharing that. All right, Josh.
Yeah. So before I go on, I realized I did a number for the finance doctor, but I definitely want something that we've done lately, and I think we saw like in a lot of different places is a conscious effort to give our loved ones their flowers. Letting each other know how we appreciate each other, and really taking a step back and looking at the journeys that each of us have taken. And man, it's like we'll get to it one day. We don't have time today, but man, these dudes have been through some stuff, and man, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen them grow and develop, man. And even as I'm a person who can look at things from different perspectives, as Dan said. So I can take my shoes, jump into another pair of shoes, and like if I'm looking in from the outside, I'm like, this dude is legit, even even if I wasn't his brother, So I talked about Clement, and then Olaolu, who's I don't know if he kind of glazed over this, but he's a captain in the United States Marine.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, captain.
Like that's not common.
Come on, man.
Common, and that's my little brother, and that's
Let's
something.
Go.
He's a black Marine captain. You know what I'm saying? And then hold on, Dan. Hold on, Dan.
It's just one thing, though. One thing.
Big brother card. No, because I gotta brag. I'm gonna come to you. I gotta get through.
No. But I want to brag on Olaolu though, real quick.
Okay, at the end of mine. Okay. All right.
But
so
don't forget. Pass it to me when you're done, so nobody else jump in there.
So anyway, he's a captain in the United States Marines, and that to me is a really big deal because I don't know any other United States Marines captains, and that's truthfully speaking. So that's something that I'm incredibly proud of. Yeah. And there's a lot of times, even today, listening to both of my little brothers speak, even my big brother, but listening to him, it's like in my brain, I still got them at 12 years old. I still got Dan as a little fat fifth grader. And I was teaching him how to shoot a basketball, and things like that. So
and having to talk with him.
Yeah, I don't remember that exact conversation, but yeah, those types of moments are kind of what's in my brain. So like sitting here listening to him talk, it's like what? Like this dude, man, and so it's really impressive. And to hear Olaolu Cap talk about leadership and things like that, which he talked about the last time on your podcast. And I'm like, hey, bro, you need to dust that off. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
Like wrap it up some type of way. We need to get that out there, share that again. And then Dan, who I've dubbed him the network king because man, he's a voracious networker, and he gets into circles, and his career proves that networking works, and he knows what he's doing. He knows how to go into conversations, meet the right people, and position himself to take advantage of opportunities. And I think that's a very rare skill set, and it's something that's really special and very unique to him. Dan, go ahead. You wanted to talk about Olaolu, and then I'll finish. I'll answer the actual question.
Yeah, I meant to say this a minute ago. I've shown 2 former Marines, like, they always ask me where he is, what he does, and I say just a second, and I go to his LinkedIn page, so I can get it right. I also do that with my dad when they ask him what he teaches, which is a trick question, because I don't think he does. But he did send me a text one time that I screenshot it, and I tell them, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Anyway, I've shown 2 former Marines like his LinkedIn and all that he's doing, and they're like, "Wow, this is impressive." And to me, I'm like, okay, like I don't really know what those things mean, but one of them told me that his career thus far has him pretty close to being a major, which is like, wow. Like to Josh's point, I don't know another captain in the Marines, white, black, or anything else, and then a major, and I'm biased because I want him to get out because I'm scared like that. I'm his little brother. But at the same time, it's like, dude, keep going, man. Do what you got to do. Maybe you'll be attorney general one day, and we can get some sense. Sorry, never mind. That's a different podcast. But just anyway, that's the type. Anyway. That's what I wanted to say. I can go on.
Hey, Dan, that's major. I get it.
Dang, Chip, man, I was gonna drop a major Pain reference.
And that's the Chip Baker Show, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go. We ain't playing with him. Let's go. Josh, you want to finish up, man?
Yeah. So to me, though, like I think the biggest takeaway for this year has been kind of like clarity, because what it showed me, and they all talked about honesty, and I don't want to sound too. I don't want to keep regurgitating, but I'll try to add a little bit something to the conversation. Talking about having a support system and being honest and unabashed in our reviews and and commentary, and it's great because it helps to maintain focus. And even times where I'm not talking to my brothers, there's times where I might send a text message, especially to Olaolu. I'm like, "Hey man, I need you." And he's like, "Call me," and I may not even end up calling, but just to know that he's there. Yeah. And like I said, to know his skill set. Look, I got a project. I need to get over the finish line. I need X, Y, Z. I need somebody to take some notes for me. I need this and that. And to have him ready, locked and ready to go is a big deal for me. And I think back, even in tough situations, Clement talked about mental health and having struggles with, not struggles, but dealing with anxiety or different things like that. I'd be like, "Hey boys, man, I need y'all right now." Just like, holler at your boy or whatever. But then I'm able to have those internal conversations, those honest conversations with myself. And that's the biggest thing for this time. It helped me to realize, which is how the book came about. It helped me to realize, like, before pre-pandemic, so last October is when I lost my full-time employment. And so I was kind of forced to make my side hustle my main hustle, and I really had to get after it. And then several projects fell through, like by December. So we're talking about October to December, like so much fell through. Because I was actually excited when I first lost my job. I was like, man, all right, it's time. And then so many things fell through, and then it left me searching for employment again. And so many doors got closed in my face and things like that. But all this time really showed me this wasn't foreign to me. Like I'd been in tough situations before and somehow like figured it out. I had a kind of a crisis mode I went into to help me deal with it. So by the time people started locking down and freaking out about the pandemic, man, I was already about 6 months in to my quarantine, so it was, or my social distancing. So it was almost that, I guess, like I said, the clarity, having those honest conversations and realizing that whenever you focus on something, that's the thing that gets tested the most. So coming into this year, everybody thought it was cute. Talking about 2020 is the year of focus, 2020 vision. Everybody thought that was cute. Well, how well can you maintain your focus when everything is going on around you? Like, how well can you maintain your focus? And so to wrap that up, it's been a great time for me to just really sit back and see, man, this is nothing brand new to me. I know how to get through this situation. I can actually help other people do the same thing. And sitting having those tough conversations, finding my own voice, and being able to articulate what thoughts and feelings I'm having, and even being able to articulate that in book form or whether it's creative design. I've been able to unlock so much creativity just by being able to be honest with myself and just creating that creative flow. So I won't keep going, but yeah, it's definitely been the clarity and those honest conversations with myself and maintaining focus.
Love it, man. Clarity, honest conversation, maintaining focus, man. I know, Dan, you've hit on a couple of things, man. Anything else you have on reflections?
I got the floor again.
Man, come on. Hey, the last time we did this, it was an issue because you're like, Chip, they don't never let me talk, man. Like I'm the youngest. Chip, man.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump in there because he doesn't need to talk in.
I was going to say, let me think of something to say. The Lord bless you.
So I'm gonna go ahead and hit my reflections before
come on, baby.
starts on his rants. So just to put it in perspective, I came home from overseas early in the spring. The closer I got home, the more crazy things were getting. It was just weird. Just, to be honest with you, I thought it was something that would blow over real quickly. I was obviously very wrong. But some things just in reflection real quickly before Daniel goes on his rant. So one of the first things I realized is that, it's a hard time to lead, and that's not just talking about military officers. I mean, just across the board, to lead families, to lead churches. It's just a hard time to lead, So just knowing that, I looked at my own pastor and I was thinking about his decision, the pressure of when do we open the church or what happens. And, I just thought about it. I was like, man, I admire his ability to even show up on Sundays, whether it be virtual. Well, it is virtual right now, but I admire his ability to be able to just show up and just speak, knowing that people are always like doubting his decisions. If he would have opened the church, God forbid, one person gets sick, and then everybody's like, "Oh, well, you shouldn't open it." And you have other people when he won't open it say, "Oh, well, you're just being overly cautious." So that was the first thing I thought of when just reflecting on this year. And the second thing is perception. Perception of the year. Joshua already talked about focus. I'm not going to dive in on that, but that just sometimes the perception of the situation could be a lot worse, depending on how we decide to look at it. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing, I'm going to open up a Shark Tank moment here, Chip, if you would allow me.
Let's get it.
Because words mean things, right? So I'm going to point out, and it just happens to be at Dan. The first thing is, I think Dan said he wanted to marry me if I understood what he said a minute ago about me and his wife being the same age. The second thing I want to correct, is he said twice that he talked to former Marines. And I assure you that every Marine that's listening in right now was cringing the both times he said that, because there's no such thing as a former Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. But the thing
my apologies.
It's okay. And then you mentioned attorney generals, which I don't even know what you're talking about at that point. But the last thing I truly want to focus in on is something he said that made me cringe a little bit and a lot of it. I started twitching a little bit. He said token. He referred to himself as a token. He said it multiple times. So in my typical self, I looked up the word token. And the main thing that I want to drive at is a token in its definition, right? Now I'm thinking about definitions. It's a voucher that you use to exchange for a good or service. That is a one-time transaction. Whereas what I look at us as, whether you're Black or you're any kind of minority, you are an investment for that company. Because an investment is an asset or item acquired with the goal of generating income or appreciation, which means your contribution is ongoing. So never again, anybody, anywhere, whether you're here or there or under whatever Dr. Seuss says, I was trying to think of that quote. No matter what you do not refer to yourself as a token. You are an investment in your company. You are an investment for that company. You're an investment for your family. I said, everybody,
come on,
not yelling.
Let's go. Hey, unmuted. Let's go to church. Come on.
Let me.
Hey, hold on. Hey, man, I had to look at the pocket square, right? I had to look at it twice, pull that boy out and be like, oh, come on.
I had to drink some water on that one, Chip.
Man, hey.
Saying a word there, boy, you didn't. I felt it deep in my spirit, Chip.
Hey, man, the usher, not the usher with an R. The usher brought the little the water jug with the cup with the napkin on it and everything.
Hey, man, let me. I do appreciate that comment. Let me clarify. I don't view myself as a token. I'm calling it what it is. I think there are a lot of people that talk about diversity and inclusion, and their first thing is, oh, let me go get this Black guy. I know he'll come in and do it. You know what I mean? And I think to a lot of people, I am a token. So I was using that language, but for me, I'm a trailblazer, man. There's a lot of things that I'm getting to do that many people don't. And I'm aware of that. I'm getting to do things that I probably, frankly, I shouldn't get to do if it was just up to me. And so my tokenism is not based on my own internal, what I believe my own internal value to be. I think that's based on what people are trying to ascribe. And it's almost to the tune of me taking that term back and rephrasing it, repurposing it, reusing it to say, nah, you can view me as a token, but I'm going to show you why I'm not and how I'm much more than that. So no, I definitely appreciate that. I don't personally feel like you would never hear me describe myself as enjoying being a token. You know what I mean? But if it takes another person's tokenism to get me there in order for me to open the door and do more for other people, I'm game. And then I'll eventually not be a token because other people will be there with me.
So,
that was incredible insight, by the way, Cap. I like that analogy. That was really cool.
Yeah,
I couldn't stop smiling. That was dope.
Yeah, man.
Dan, are you still collecting signatures?
Yeah, man, I am. And one thing
that's what you were working on, and that's a pretty big deal, man. Chip, his face is popping up on billboards and stuff now. He doesn't even know how to talk about stuff he's doing.
Let's go, man.
So
go.
So Dan, I'm gonna come back to you.
Give it to us, man. Come on,
Dan. I want you to talk about that. But Chip, I did want to mention this too. I know we all like to make a point to honor our parents too, and we talked about
without a doubt.
We talked about those tough conversations and having honest conversations, and that's the culture that we came up in. Like my mom would say, you know, if you have a big head, you're gonna know you have a big head before you got into the world, you know, and you're not gonna get your feelings hurt. So that's the type of environment we came up in, and is that we loved each other, but we loved each other hard. Yeah. So if anything was out of place or somebody didn't brush their teeth for a couple of weeks,
you'll know
it. We stayed on top of each other, like, you know what I'm saying. Even now, if somebody's not looking in too good a shape, you know, we let each other know. Or if we're not dressed appropriately, you know, we don't let it slide. You know what I'm saying? So we talked about that last week, Chip. You know, about iron sharpening iron. Like it's not always pretty, but you know what I'm saying. We don't let each other live. You know what I'm saying? But it cuts away, but you know, it makes us better. It's almost like that pruning process, you know, if we know anything about plants and things like that. So it's like all that fluff and extra fat that we have, like we are constantly like trimming the fat. We're constantly getting down to what really matters. Like, hey dude, you're legit. Stop. Even our own limiting talk and limiting beliefs, like, man, get out of it, man. You're good. Like, talk about it. It's okay to brag on yourself. And for us, for all four of us, it is difficult. Like, that's not the type of environment we came from to be braggadocious. Yes, to be confident, absolutely, but not to talk about it. My dad didn't teach us a lot of things, but we saw him go to work every day. We saw him provide for the family. And so many things just being a parent now, it's like, the patience that he had, this, that, and all those things were caught and not necessarily taught. So I wanted to make sure that we shouted out our parents who gave us that tough love, who provided the example, and everything that we've said here today, like, is a reflection of things that we were either told and or showed, more importantly showed, you know, throughout our lives. So to our parents, man, I want to, like we've been saying, like we try to make it a point to give flowers while we're living, because and we're just getting started, because we're just starting to realize, man, this is the power that we really have, man. This is really where we came from, man. This is really who we are. So with that, Dan, please talk about what you're currently doing, please, sir.
So here's like another. So you mentioned the billboard, which they're kind of separate, but they eventually will go hand in hand. Like, an organization around here asked me to be a part of a shoot to be on their billboard, and this is why the token thing is always in my head, because being in a place like Springfield, Missouri, is like, man, why are they asking me? Are they asking me because of what I've gotten to do here, or are they asking me because I'll look good as a diversity piece? And I think unfortunately for a lot of people of color, that will not always, but that's oftentimes what's in their head. Anyway, I agreed, and it's United Way, and the thing that they asked us to do a statement on United for whatever, and I said for our future generations. because I do think that's very important. It's important to live united. If, anybody who knows me, who talks to me, my mind immediately goes to, not how rich I can get, not how much I can benefit from this, but who else can I bring to the table to be a part of this? Who else can I plug? Sometimes in lieu of me, like I don't need another thing on my plate right now. Who else can I plug? Who else can I bring? Who else can I whatever? And typically it's probably going to be someone from a marginalized community, because I'm able to mention a networking a minute ago. I'm able to network with many different groups. And that's hopefully going to help have a wide net of referral systems to say, if you need someone to be a part of this organization, be on this board, or to speak at this, and I have those people I can plug. And that's always the goal. And selfishly speaking, I have a 2-year-old. And so with those things combined, I decided to run for school board. This was something that my wife and I, we've talked for the last couple of years, probably just about public service in general, what it would look like to be city council or a senator or something of that nature. And then when this opportunity was presented to me, I think it made sense for both of us. My wife is not a readily yes type of person. She likes to think about it. She likes to poke holes in it. She is, if I'm an optimist, she's for sure the opposite. And it works. It definitely works. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me into reality. But before we even talked to each other about it, I texted her and told her, and she said yes immediately. And I decided to run for school board. And so I'm in the process of doing that right now for the Springfield Public Schools R12 Board of Directors, Board of Education Directors, and I'm hopeful for that. That's something that I always mention. We went to a small school. We went to the smaller school where we're from. But my dad was always there. My mom was always there. In fact, we were playing basketball yesterday, which my arm is sore today, by the way. We were playing basketball. My mom walked outside, and it was such a nostalgic moment because she started saying some of her traditional chants, if you will. And it was such a nostalgic moment. It just brought back that memory. And I want to try to do that not only for my kid, obviously, but just for other kids in general. So that went into that decision, and that is a huge project that I usurped a minute ago.
Pretty big deal, huh, Chip?
Man, so good, man. So good. And I think, and I said this when we started, and I'll say it again, man, just great guys doing great things from a great family. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. I know that, man, y'all are such a blessing to so many people, starting with your family, but then the impact that you're making throughout the world, it'll be felt forever, that positive ripple effect of what you guys are doing. And I really commend you, man. Just reflecting on, like you said, from a small town, the thing that you guys, the magnitude of what you're doing, your things, I think is so amazing. And it's a true testament to people that, if you just hold firm to your faith, work hard, do right, treat people right, continue to grow, all of those things you guys mentioned of what you're doing in your reflections. If you just, focus in and do those things, you're going to be all right. And there is no limit. Like there is no, like all of us here, like, bro, it ain't no limit. You know what I'm saying? Like if whatever it is you can think, to dream, to be, to create, to see, to do, like the possibilities are possible. And we're a true testament of that, man. Like every one of us that's on this call, like if you would have told us, way back when we was kids, like, man, you're going to be a captain, like, bro, like, you're going to be school board, like the literacy doctor, changing people's lives, like, man, this is crazy, like it blows you away, like when you're able to reflect on it. But then it also makes you be, truly thankful to the big man for blessing you to be able to be in those shoes. And I think one of you guys said, don't take it lightly, And so, in closing, man, I just want to say again, man, thank y'all so much for taking the time to hang out with the Success Chronicles.
Thank you, Chip.
Man, thank y'all for what you do. And I want to say this too, man, to your parents, amazing job raising great people, like the struggle You know, we know the struggles, right? You know, and those of you that are watching, you know the struggles, like of what it takes to raise one. you know, like it's hard. Like life is hard. Like it's like life is tough, right? But then when you can raise, you know, several, and every one of them just be great people, you know, like it's amazing, man. And it's a true testament to your parents and your family, and of course the big man. We can't faith, you know, is where it starts and ends with everything. So again, thank you guys. Thank you all for checking out this Success Chronicle segment. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.